It's the Benz Punani womanist. Baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. If you sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea, we are go sip it, yo. Hard time scrolling for your long shorts. You might learn something you never know. Collect you fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say you're mine, say you're mine.
It's the extra content up in this bitch, up in this hoe. Whoa, whoa, extra content, doing my thing. Whoa, whoa, not wearing a bra. Oopie oo, oopie oo, and a doopie doo. Sorry. Hi. Welcome to the extra content patrons. Thank you for your continued support. You're all baby girls, baby boys, and baby non-binaries. I love you all dearly. Can't wait to see some of you at the live show. I've got some little bits and bobs for ya to say thank you for just believing in me and supporting me. But let's get back into the tarot then. So, as I said in the main content, we're in denial about opportunities because we're scared of leaving people behind, or we're scared of just going forward because it means actually accepting our self-worth and accepting that we are great beings and we deserve so much. So we're fighting against it and pretending that we can't see all of the great things about ourselves, and we're staying far away from the things that we need to go towards, our home, in higher places. We are staying far away from those things because we don't want to accept these opportunities that are firmly waiting for us. We see them upside down because we don't want to go towards them. And the reason that we do that is because I feel like we're waiting for other people to tell us that we're great. We're looking for God everywhere but within ourselves. And that's when the Hierophant comes in, because you see these two men are at the bottom with their bald heads. They're just looking up at this priest and they're being told, or is it a bishop? Whoever. Anyway, they're being told by this figure what to do. And they're incapable of thinking for themselves. They are just there to serve. You know, they're just there to serve and listen and be told that this is it and that's that. Historically speaking, the average person couldn't read or write, so they would go to church and basically it would be the interpretation of the priest that they would take as word, as gospel, literally, and run with that. But we do know how to read and write now. We do know how to read and write, and we do know how to think for ourselves. So it's about us doing the explorations into our own divinity and not looking for that person. We're not looking for validations from corporations and organizations that we deem as, amazing and massive to tell us of our worth. We know our worth and we have to state our worth, and they have to get the fuck in line and deal with it. And even if it's not in terms of work, but I usually, for me, it seems like a lot of that is work-based. But even if it's not in terms of work, it's just generally in life. If we're waiting for other people to validate us and be like, yeah, you know what, you are great, you do deserve great things, that might never come, because people have their own wahala, they have their own dramas and things that they're thinking of and their own internal conflicts. And just generally, people are mad and they have nobody to tell them. So if you putting your life on hold, waiting for other people to tell you that you're a badass and you deserve all of the things, it's a waste. It's a waste of a life and it's a waste of your time. So take the blindfold off and see yourself in your true greatness. And therefore you can turn these opportunities the right way up and accept the things that are waiting for you. If you lose people on the way, you didn't ever lose them. They were meant to go. There's no such thing as you losing them. They were meant to go. So the things that you're meant to gain can come towards you. You have to literally clear out the clutter and let the sun shine in. And this is what this seems to me. A little piece of sunshine waiting to come into your life, but you can't see it because you're blindfolded and you don't want to see all of the things. So that's that for this week's extra bit on the tarot. Let's talk about Pastor Darrell Scott. On Wednesday, this was like last Wednesday, faith leaders from America's inner cities, the ghettos, gathered at the White House for a meeting with President Trump. During the meeting, Pastor Darrell Scott referred to Trump as probably the most pro-Black president I've seen in my lifetime. He said, "I've had the honor and privilege to work with then candidate, now President Trump, and to observe him behind the scenes and have a number of personal conversations with him. And people ask me, why do I defend him so vociferously? And I say it's easy for me to do because I know him and he's shown me his heart, and I know he has a heart for all Americans. And I will say this administration has taken a lot of people by surprise, and it's going to surprise you guys even more because this is probably the most proactive administration regarding urban America and the faith-based community in my lifetime. And I'll be 60 years old in December. But when I think back on, I use good but when I think back on, I use good hair dye and I've got a great makeup artist. But to be honest, this is probably going to be and I'm going to say this at this table, the most pro-Black president that we've had in our lifetime and I try to, analyze the people that I encounter. This president actually wants to prove something to our community, our faith-based community and our ethnic community. The last president didn't feel like he had to. He felt that he didn't have to prove it. He got a pass. This administration is probably going to be more proactive regarding urban revitalization and prison reform than any president in our lifetime. If we work together, give him a chance. Don't pay any attention to these guys back here. And I'll promise you, we will do something that this administration will continue to make history. It's going to be a lot of positive changes. Great things are on the horizon. I promise. So my thinking is, if pastors get membership cards to heaven, I'm hoping that upon this Darrell Scott guy making such statements that St. Paul was just like, that gif where the Black woman is just typing. I hope St. Paul is just like, click, 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 delete, delete, delete. That's over. It's cancelled. Reason for being a bitch ass coon. Full stop. What the fuck are you saying? What the fuck are you saying? The most pro-Black president in our lifetime. What lifetime are you living in? I'm just confused. And this is what I think is so dangerous. And this is why I think it's interesting that the Hierophant card came up today in tarot, because too many men are listening to these men of God. And these men of God aren't men of God. They are false prophets and they chat shit. They chat the most shit. And they're only concerned about their own financial gain and their own status in society. They don't actually give a shit about you as a person who's seeking to see the goodness of the Lord in this world. They don't give a shit about you. They just care about lining their own pockets. Because how can someone with any sort of soul open their lips to say that Trump is pro-Black in any form? This is a man who has children literally in cages right now, separating children from their parents, from their families. And you're talking to me about he's the most pro-Black president for our faith-based community. No. Now, I'm not going to argue with you about the points made about Obama, because I have my reservations about Obama and nobody is going to sway me. Nobody is going to sway me about my thoughts on Obama. But at the same time, you cannot come and tell me that, Trump is any better. He is not. Yes, I will allow that some of the things that are being actioned now actually started within Obama's administration, but there's only so much someone can do when Congress is absolutely on their necks. But I'm not making any excuses for him. But all I'm saying is that it's just wild. It's just wild that people are dying. People are dying. People are being killed. And Trump isn't doing anything about that. In fact, he's talking about building walls and his hatred, his clear, apparent hatred for the working class, for anyone who isn't white like him. Now all of these white working class people in the rural areas are getting upset because I voted for Trump and I expected a different life. What did you expect, baby boy? What did you expect? I voted for Trump and I expected this and that. There are Hispanic people. I want to say Hispanic people, but I don't know if that's the right term. But there are people who have voted for Trump who are now being separated from their own families. And I think that that's interesting, because in your hatred of other people, in your xenophobia, you voted for a man that in the end, what you did came to come and spite you in the end, and now you're deported and you're separated from your family and you don't know what the fuck just happened, but it happened to you because you didn't want to think with your own mind. You didn't want to go inward and listen to your own common sense. You let other people take you where you didn't need to go. And this pastor is a dickhead, and there are many pastors like him, like the one that allowed Theresa May to come to the church and speak to black people. Now, I know people love to say, oh, black people have historically voted for Labour because of the immigration laws and rare. But if you actually speak to a lot of West African, the older generation of West Africans, or even the average West African, their views are rather conservative and in line with conservative policies. But that doesn't mean anything to me, because I feel like sometimes people don't know what's best for them, and they like to act bougie when they don't understand that they're black, and this country, this world, as we know it, does not like blackness. So if you feel like, oh, I have all these conservative views and I'm going to vote conservative, well, you're the fool at the end of the day when your children have to pay crazy amounts to go to university, and when your relatives and even maybe yourself are being deported and you don't know why. You only have yourself to blame for that wildness. But there's something to be said for pastors abusing and exploiting their roles in the church, within the church, to promote views that actually only benefit them and not their congregation, not the demographic that actually come to see them. Because Trump doesn't like the people that are most likely making up your congregation. He doesn't. And this urban revitalization that you're talking about, call it by its motherfucking name. Call it gentrification. And that's another type of colonization. It's just as violent as far as I'm concerned, in pushing out all of these black people from their communities. So urban revitalization where? Urban revitalization when it means white people move in and the black people ain't got no fucking where to go. We have to address these people. And just because that they say that they are of God or they speak for God, they don't speak for my God as far as I'm concerned. And I'm tired of listening to their motherfucking bullshit. So that is it for this week's episode of Extra Content. Thank you for listening. And I will see a lot of you at the live show. And well, obviously we're going to chat before then because I'm going to make another video next week. Duh. But as I said, affirmations cards will be coming out on my birthday. I will release it to you all first, so you can get first dibs on buying them, because I think I'm only going to release 50 decks. I didn't say that in the main content, but I'm only probably going to release 50 decks, but we'll see how it goes, because I want them to be really pretty and nice, and I don't have the money to just be doing hundreds. But let's see how it goes. You'll have first dibs and it'll be released on my birthday, October 5th. God bless and keep us all until then. Thank you all so much for writing into me. Thank you, Demetrius, for writing into me, because I know that you watch the Extra Content. And yeah, I appreciate you all greatly. Have a great week. Peace.
It's the Benz Brunani womanist, baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. Sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea, we are go sip it, yo. Hard time scrolling for your long throats. You might learn something you never know. Collect you fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say you're mine, say you're mine.